I want to add a new user to my Linux computer. To do that, I'm going down to Main, Administration, and then Users and Groups. Here we see the single user we created when we installed Linux Mint Mate. I want to add another user, so I will click on Add. It's asking me for my root or administrator password. I'll type that in. Now it's asking me for the name of the new user. I will call him Jack. We'll notice that the user name is all lowercase. And down here, we see the username must be lowercase, digits, or one of these three characters. We have a checkbox here to encrypt the home folder to protect sensitive data. I will check that box for Jack and click OK. Now it's asking me to set up a password. I can type it in by hand, or I can have Linux Mint generate a random password for me. Here's the password it's selecting. If I don't like that, I can generate a different one. And then down at the bottom, we've got a checkbox to say, don't ask for the password on login. That would defeat the purpose of the encrypted home folder, so I am not going to check this. I'll leave this blank. But there are times when you want a user not to have to type in a password. I'm going to set up a password by hand for Jack. And confirm that password, clicking OK. And we have a new user, Jack. Let's add another new user. We will call her Jill. I'm not going to encrypt her home folder, and then I'll click OK. Again, we need to give her a password. Clicking OK adds her to the system. Over on the right, we've got something called Advanced Settings. This allows me to put in a little more information for Jill. Her office location, we'll say that's on the second floor. Her work phone, 555-1212, and her home phone, 555-9999. Going over to the second tab, User Privileges. I played around with this, and I gave Jack all the permissions and Jill none, and I didn't see any real difference with their users. They were both able to use the CD-ROM and the wireless and Ethernet networks. At least with the Linux Mint Mate 17.1 release, this doesn't do a whole lot. Over on the advanced, we can disable the account. That would prevent anyone from logging into that account. But this doesn't change any of the files. So if we want to tell someone you can't log into the system for the week, we might want to disable the account. When they're done, enable that account once again. This next one down, Home Directory. There are times when you'll want to change the home directory. It's very common for people to put their home directory on a separate partition. We will not learn how to do that in this introductory series. But maybe in the future, I will create an intermediate or advanced series that will cover that topic. Shell, we will not be covering the shell. Main group, we'll notice that's blank at the moment. After we log into Jill, we'll notice that it will put in a main group of Jill. And we're not concerned with the user ID. Clicking OK. Because I disabled Jill's account, I need to type in my administrator password. And Jill's account is disabled. I'm going to enable that once again. I'll need to give her a new password. And click OK. And her account is active once again. Going into the home folder, we see we've got a home folder for Jack, for Jill, and myself. Jack's got a big X on there because we encrypted that folder. Clicking that will not allow me to see inside Jack's folder. We are signed in as the root or administrative user, so we should be able to see what's in Jack's home folder. But we can only do that by logging in as Jack. Since we created the password and we know it, we could log in as Jack. But if he changes his password, we are the root user, so we can change the password to something we know and log in as Jack and see what's on his files. Jill, on the other hand, we can see her files. And she's got nothing in there. As I mentioned with the groups, it does not create any folders for Jill until we log in as Jill. I'm going to close this, log out, and log in as Jill. I've logged in as Jill for the first time. We get the welcome screen. I'm going to close that. And we see Jill's home folder, so we know we are logged in as Jill. And we have some files in here now. Going down to Menu, Administration, Users and Groups. Jill can change her password by clicking here. She'll need to put in the current password as well as a new one. And if she tries to go into the advanced settings, it asks for the administrative password. I'll type that in. And under the Advanced tab, we see Jill has a main group of Jill. We'll talk about groups, not in the next video, but very soon. Going back into the home folder, Jill sees Jack's folder, Jill's folder, and the root user folder of Michael. She cannot view Jack's folder, but she can view the contents of the Michael root user folder. She cannot create a folder or create any documents, but she can view everything. We will talk about why this is in the next video, and we'll talk about how to prevent every viewer on the system from viewing the files in the root user folder. If you like these videos, please tell a friend.